So we got some crazy 2024 AFL draft news to talk about today on the channel, especially if you guys are a Richmond fan, because I'm not going to lie, I was sitting down on my couch and I nearly did a backflip off it and broke my neck just because of how, surprising this news is, because I'm one of those guys who has been covering on the channel the countless of reports and updates that does suggest that the Richmond Football Club will be selecting Sam Lawler with the first overall pick. But I have a lot of news to bring to you guys that might not be potentially the case now. But before we do get into all of that and more, there is still a decent amount of you guys who watch these videos who are not yet subscribed to the channel. So if you could do me a massive favor and, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on that notification bell, and even go one step further and comment down below who you guys think should be getting selected at pick 1 or not. I really don't mind, but if you want to, just let me know down below. And I guess without further ado, let's just get straight into it. With this report being said by Callum Toomey saying, I'm not 100% on Sam Lawler yet. Sounds like a tight race at the top. Finn O'Sullivan is still very much a possibility at 1. If that is the case, I'd want us to trade up for Lawler at pick number 2. We must walk out of this draft with Sam Lawler. Another report also saying that Richmond are the most linked club to Josh Smillie. Every club has him tied to Richmond's pick 6. And then again, an opinionated things here saying that Richmond are considered very unlikely to move any of 1, 6, 10, or 11, which we've heard a lot of. The latter 3 first, however, could be on the table for the right price. Keep in mind, we have a lot of list spots to fill, so I reckon, what the fuck? What, do I even English? I'd reckon we'd only trade 1, max 2 of them into next year. Now, if I do remember right, I think the Richmond Football Club has about 8 list spots available and 8 picks to use in this draft. Now, again, there is still a very big chance that the Tigers go and say, look, we have a guy that we think we can get later on in this draft who is still available. Let's trade our pick 20 to a team and we'll bring back 30 in and maybe a second round pick in the next year's draft. That could be very well a thing that Richmond could try and do, and is definitely something that could also happen. And it could also be a serious consideration where Richmond just really like a dude who they think will get to the 3rd or 4th and, trade pick 20 to a team who is desperate to get in this year's draft and trade that 20, because again, we know a ton of teams are going to be looking to overpay to make sure that they really do capitalize and bring in players in this draft, which is being said to be one of the deepest. So you could literally turn pick 20 into like a future 1st round pick and a future 2nd or a later 2nd round pick in this year's draft type of thing, which is just absolutely crazy to think and see. It's about the only draft that you could possibly see that happening. In terms of now Richmond not knowing if Sam Lawler is going to be pick 1 or not, I think this is far-fetched by Callum Toomey, and in terms of not far-fetched as in saying that this is not true by him, but in terms of saying that he might be only saying this because this is what he has been told. But deep down inside, most teams know who they have going into pick 1, 5 days before the draft starts. Again, the only case I feel like this was in the NBA a couple years ago, where the Orlando Magic were literally tossing and turning on who to take at pick 1, Paolo Banchero or Jabari Smith, I believe it was, and they ended up going on with Paolo Banchero 30 minutes before pick 1 was announced, and of course it was the best decision they could have possibly ever made. But I think what's going on here is Richmond are playing mind games with other teams. They're genuinely being tools to make sure other teams are stressing, to make sure other teams are, as solidified on who they're going to be drafting, because North might be thinking, we want to get Alex Taru at pick number 2, or we want to get, Finn O'Sullivan at pick number 2. But they might be second guessing themselves saying, well, hold on. If Richmond take Finn O'Sullivan at 1 here, we could be getting Sam Lawler. And then you've got a team who is getting this other team's hopes up high. It's North End thinking outside of the box of Taru and Finn O'Sullivan, and now Sam Lawler comes into the equation. It really just adds disruption. It doesn't do a whole lot. It's really just Richmond being tools. And I mean, fair enough. If I owned the whole entire draft capital, I would be a dickhead to other teams. I'd be calling up freaking St Kilda, who's next to me, and being like, hey, we want to trade down a couple picks. All we got to do is give us an extra third. And St Kilda are like, what, really? And then Richmond are just like, fuck no, are you mentally all there? I mean, that's just what I'd be doing if I was Richmond. I think it'd be funny just to play mind games with these other teams. Maybe pull some pranks like your, I don't know, Roman Atwood from 2015, or even Fousey Tube from 2015 used to prank people. But I think Richmond will be taking Sam Lawler at pick 1. This is just, again, it's kind of mind games, but also it's like Richmond fans are extra interested. We're like, got our eyes locked into our screen, and we're like, hold on a second. You're telling me that I've just been hyping myself up for Sam Lawler to be the future pick 1. I've been daydreaming about this man holding up 3 premiership cups like Dustin Martin. 1 cup in one hand, 1 cup in the other. Maybe holding up the other, cup with his penis. I don't know. How's he going to hold 3 at once? I'm not sure. Dusty probably did it. But now I could be having to reimagine that with Finn O'Sullivan holding up 1 cup here, 1 cup there, and I don't really want to say where else because I'm not too sure if Finn O'Sullivan's 18 yet, but you know what? Let's keep it PG. So yeah, as a Richmond fan, you're kind of second guessing yourself and you're thinking, hold on, this could be very interesting. But as far as pick number 6 as well, having a lot more news on this is very cool to see, because a lot of teams will be wondering who are Richmond taking, and it seems like they are kind of locking in Richmond to take Josh Smillie. And I think this is a good pick, considering Josh Smillie at one stage was ranked number 1 for a lot of months, and apparently Richmond loved him and were really in consideration to take him at 1. I think Richmond, the reason they're not taking him at 1 is because they are thinking themselves, hold on, we can get this guy at pick 6 now, and we can arguably get who we think are the 2 best players in the draft. And we know that Richmond were so big on Josh Smillie at one stage that they could be very well still thinking they're going to take him at 6 here. And I think, honestly, if you were to say Alex Taru was still available at 6, if Smillie was available at 6, maybe, Harvey Langford, etc., etc., I wouldn't be surprised if the Tigers shocked a lot of people here and genuinely went with Josh Smillie, because that's who they think will be the best available. Now, is this a little scary just because if you have a midfield of Sam Lawler, Smillie, Hopper, and Taranto, there's legitimately no speed, and the ball use may still be a little bit iffy? And I would say yes, that is a big concern, especially in a league that is trending towards being much quicker, much faster, much craftier with their hands, and having the best disposal users be in that best midfield. Again, you're always going to have an issue now with Taranto and Hopper being butchers of the ball, and Hopper just being really a bad player now. Like, I'm going to flat out say it. I'm a Richmond fan. He's a bad player now. I hope he can get it back to normal, but he's a bad player at the moment. You do look at it and you're like, crap. Yeah, that midfield is very, very one dynamic and has the same issues that Carlton has had for like the last year. But again, I think there's still hope with rumours that Richmond might be taking Xavier Lindsay at like 10, who's one of the best ball users in this draft, pretty quick player, and then going in other directions as well. Eventually, in a couple years, Hopper might not even be in the equation. So it might be Taranto, Smillie with just a bunch of speed and good ball users around him, and then Lawler in there who will probably play forward and will probably play midfield, rotate like Dusty did for a very, very long time. So I wouldn't be too worried if I was a Richmond fan. I think they're going to handle this all out and it's going to be good, and I'm just praying for the best, but I really do hope they make the right decision here at 1. And honestly, I do think it probably should be Sam Lawler, but yeah, we'll have to definitely wait and see. I don't know, that could realistically come back in bite me in the ass without consent. So we'll have to definitely wait and see. But of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest AFL content and AFL news. Comment your thoughts and opinions on this all down below. Who would you guys select if you were the Richmond Football Club at 1? I'd very much like to know. Subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/vlogging channels as well, which will be getting all linked in the description down below. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.